welcome back to my channel. So it has been a while since we have done a Photoshop tutorial video, and I figured I would bring you guys along today to just design with me. I'm creating some number labels, and I actually created my label in Canva. And so I guess I can start here and show you how I created my label and then how I take it into Photoshop. So we'll just start on a new page here. And so Canva, you can get a free version of Canva that does everything that you're going to see me do here today. I do have the Pro, but you do not need the Pro to do what I'm doing in here today. So I am just going over here to my elements, and I'm going to lines and shapes, and then I just want to figure out, you know, what shape do I want my label to be. Well, I tend to like this kind of shape here for my label. So what I've done is just I selected that label or that shape, and I'm just going to get it to the shape that I want it. Now let me go ahead and change the color. All right, and now I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to bring that where I can see what I'm doing. So I'm shrinking it down. Now let's take a look. Okay, I'm pretty good with that. I'm going to just move it up here. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep building on that shape. So I just duplicate it. I hit the duplicate button, which is the little plus sign up here in the corner. And now I'm just going to make it a little larger. And I'm just going to kind of even everything around, as you can see. And now I'm going to hit duplicate one more time, which I actually hit it like 2 more times. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up and get everything lined up the way that I want it. And then when I'm happy with the shape that I have, which I think I like that shape pretty good. I think I've got everything fairly even. So now I'm going to save as, and I'm going to save it as a PNG. I'm doing transparent background, and I'm just going to download it. Okay, and it's already saved. I don't have to do anything right here. So now I'm just going to go over here into Photoshop. I am going to go to Create New. And my iPad is running slow because I have got so much stored on this iPad. I think I have like 180 something gigabytes actually stored on here. I need to get back in the habit of using my external drive, but I don't know. I haven't been doing it. So once it comes up to where I can create, now I'm going to hit create. All right, and now I'm going to go over here to photos. I'm going to select photos, and this is the one that we just did. I am going to enlarge it. Okay, and so it did create with the transparent background. Now, I can, there's a couple of different things. If I want to layer just this part, but I don't want anything on the other, what I can do is I can duplicate this layer. I am going to hide this top layer that I just duplicated. Then I'm going to select that bottom layer, the first layer. I'm going to go right here to my lasso tools, and I'm going to do magic wand. I'm going to hit in the middle of that, and I cannot remember. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to go invert. I have to do it on the outside. I always get mixed up. Okay, so now is when I invert. What am I doing? Okay. We'll just erase. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And my iPad, it's being stupid for some reason. Okay. So now I just had to go about it the long way because my mind just kind of went blank and I can't remember when I'm on the fly like that. Okay, so now I only have just that background, but when I unhide that, you can see I have both. So what I'm going to do, because I want more than one label like that, I am going to select multiple. I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to hit duplicate. Now I'm going to take those two layers and I move both of those layers. I'm going to hit duplicate again, and I'm going to move both of those layers. I'm going to hit duplicate one more time and move them. Let's just do a whole row while we're here together. So I'm going to hit duplicate again. And that's enough for that row. Okay, so now I deselected the select multiple. Now this is what I can do. I will go in, and because this one is these are going to be number labels, it's a little bit different. Let me pull in a ticket that I have created so I can kind of show you. Here's one. Let me go bring this to the top here. So I'm just holding on it and I'm just pulling it up to the top. So what I'm going to do, so that we're only working with like one right now, I'm going to do, I've done the marquee rectangle, and I am going to draw a rectangle right there, and then I'm going to hit the mask button, which is the square with the circle in it. And then I can see that I've got a little bit of the other side here. So I've done the magic wand, and I'm just going to go right there, and I'm going to hit erase. And it should, hopefully it'll get it all. Okay. Now it got a little bit too much of the other, so we're just going to take it back to what it was, and I'll just do the erase on it for right now, just so that I can show you guys. And I'm just erasing that little line right there because I don't need that. It's not hurting anything, but I don't need it. Okay, so now we have that. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this ticket that I did with the label. So I'm going to duplicate the ticket. I'm going to hide the top layer. And then I'm just going to do the marquee rectangle. And I'm going to do a rectangle right around that inside there. And I didn't draw it very good, so let's just do lasso, so maybe I can draw a little better. It's not looking like I can. I'm just trying not to touch any of the other lines, and it looked like I touched right there. Let's see how good I did. That's pretty good. Okay, and then flatten. So now when I unhide that, I have my ticket. So let me show you on the ticket, if I'm wanting to put an image on that, I'm going to hide that top layer. Well, I'll leave the top layer there because it's not going to make a difference. I am going back over here. Maybe you guys can see. I am going right here to the layer, the bottom layer of the ticket, which is just the square. I'm going to go to my paint bucket, and I'm going to fill that in with white. Because if I don't have that filled in with anything, it doesn't matter what I try to layer on top of it, it's not going to layer because there's nothing there to layer to. So let's just go to my files. Let's just see what we may have. I did not want that, but okay. Let's go to paper. I have some Graphics Fairy paper. Let's go to this paper right here. And you can see where something right there, I'm not sure what happened. So let's just take a look and see. It's apparently, and this is one thing I do when I'm trying to find out where I have missed something at. I will go to this very background page and I'll color it in some crazy color. So as you can see up here on that top layer, somehow I have left a piece of stuff there, I guess you could say. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this bottom layer. And so I got rid of that. So now I can go back down here to this bottom layer and I can paint it back white again. And hopefully, if I am going too fast on any of this or you don't understand it, please feel free to send me a message and I will be more than happy to talk you through it, because it's really not hard. It's learn, and I'm sure that I do not do it the way that Adobe or Photoshop would tell you to do it, but I do it the way that I know how to do it and the way that I can comfortably do it and help others do it. So now that I have that paper there, I can go in, I can add an image. Well, let's see. Let's do a butterfly. So we have these butterflies here, and I have them down here for some reason. So let's move them up to here. So what I've done is I moved them above the actual ticket. And now I just want to see which butterflies do I want on there. And I'm just looking, let's put that one right there. Okay. So now I'm just going to hit the square with the arrow going down, and I'm going to say merge down. And you see, I now have the butterfly on there. Now, if I had, let me do this and show you the reason why I go through those steps that I do. What happens when you get in a hurry, you start making mistakes. Okay, so this is the ticket file that I used. So let me go back to, actually, I'm just thinking, because you know, let me duplicate this layer and let me move the layer that I duplicated. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I was going to show you why I do it in the different steps like this. And the reason being is so that whenever I can color in this area here of the ticket, and it's not going to layer that butterfly down onto it. So I could take and go up here to this ticket right here, and I could color that in. And so you see the butterfly is not going to be there. So that is one reason why I do it like that. Just to give me a little bit more control over how my image is going to look. So let's go back over here to our what's going to be our number labels. Now, I'm trying to decide. I think I want to, let me see here. I have some colors that I wanted to use. These are some tickets that I was making. So I'm just going to save those so that I can export those colors. I don't feel like writing the color codes down. I'm being lazy. Yes, I know. Okay, so let's go back into our ticket here, or our number labels. I'm going to bring that file over. And now let's go with this color down here. I'm just going to do my select color tool. I'm going to set it right there. And now I am going to hide that layer. And I am going to, we can just move that layer down. I just don't want it in between either of those. Okay, so let's select this layer again. And we are going to fill it in. Now, I have the black border, and I'm not real fond of it. So I am going to, oh, that's right. we actually have to go up here to this one because this is where our border is. And so now I've just colored that in. So now I can go back down here and I can get my numbers, and I'm trying to think where I have them saved at. I believe they are in my files. And I hope I am not losing you guys. I'm really hoping I'm not, because I do go through it quite quickly, but it's pretty easy to do. So if you see that it's going white, and that's because I have not layered that down yet, but I also have not removed the background from that number 12. But if I layer that down and then I hit multiply, you see what it did. So that's why I didn't take the extra step to, excuse me, remove that white background, because when I hit multiply, it's not going to make a difference. So I didn't take the extra time to do that. Okay, so now I have, that is the way that I want it. Now I'm going to go back up here to this, the one that's above it, and let's just go ahead and color in each of those lines there. Okay, so as you can see, maybe I go through too many steps, you know, for, you know, what most people would do. I don't know, but this is just the way that it works best for me. I could have left that black. I can even, since we have the black numbers there, I can do that black. And then I could even take, and then I could just fill this part in if I wanted to. So there's a lot you can do whenever you break it into different pieces and work on it like that. And so that's why I like to do that. Now the other thing is, I'm going back over here to where my number is, and I'm just going to merge it down. So now it is a part of that bottom layer of the label. I want to make that grungy without making everything grungy. So I'm going to load it as a selection. Then I'm going to select new layer. And then I'm going to hit deselect. And that is an empty layer, and I'm going to merge that layer down. So now I have this empty layer merged down onto it. And I'm going to go up here to my my brushes, and I had somebody ask about where I get all of my brushes from. You can get a lot of free Photoshop brushes off of just Google, and there's a lot of free Photoshop brushes available. So just Google free Photoshop brushes and they'll come up with tons. Okay, so I selected one of my grunge brushes. I have it set to a brown color. I have it set to normal instead of clear. And so now I'm just going to start painting. And as you see, it's not going anywhere else. It's staying in that number area or in that label area. And the reason being is because I have merged that down onto just that label. So I could have done the same thing if I wanted to. Let me delete that layer. If I wanted to grunge up just the outside of that layer, then I'm going to go to the outside area. I'm going to hit load a selection, new layer, deselect, and now I'm going to merge that layer down. I still have my paintbrush selected, and so now when you see it, now it's only going on the outside. It's not messing with my inside there. So that's how you can grunge stuff up. That's how I do a lot of the different things that I do in Photoshop. I know another question I had was, where's it at? This paper, how I can have layered a lot of my stuff. This was a file. I want to say I got this file off of Free Pick. I don't remember, but it was a single file. But what I'd done is I deselected layers of it. I duplicated, then I selected the middle, then I selected the edges. So now I have two different files here. Even though it's the same paper, as you can see, when I layered down onto where that second one is, I still have my border there. And it's because I have made my border a separate layer. So I hope I made a little bit of sense to you guys. The biggest thing is just learning to work in layers. In working in layers, that's how you can achieve a lot of the colors and a lot of the different designs that you want to achieve. Let me see if there's another one that I might can do. That is not what I wanted. For sure. So let me see. I'm just going back. I'm looking to see what I have here. Okay, here's a stamp. Let me show you this. I'm going to enlarge this really big so that we can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so as you can see in the stamp, there is a background. So I'm going to do the magic wand. I'm going to hit that area. I'm going to invert, and then I'm going to do the square with the circle, and then I'm going to flatten that layer. Okay, so now I have this stamp here. I've got the inside and the outside there. So now I'm going to click on that inside. I'm going to erase. Then I'm going to click on the inside of the square and click erase. Okay, so now we have this blank area. Now I'm going to duplicate, and then I'm going to hide the layer that I just duplicated. Okay, and now that I've got that one hid, I'm going to go back and select this one, and then I am going to go over here to Marquee Rectangle, and I'm just going to draw around it like that, make sure I have it all, and then I'm going to mask it and flatten it. Now I'm going to unhide that, and you see I still have my stamp. Okay, so right here, I'm back down onto just the square. I am going to fill that square in white. And I'll show you the reason why. We will go ahead and fill this square, this part in. We'll go ahead and fill it in with, let's do that blue. Okay, now let's go back down here to our white. And let's get, let's go back to my downloads on my iPad. Let's go back and select the paper. We will select that paper, that same paper again. And then let's merge it down. Now you see it didn't merge onto the blue. The reason being is because we didn't merge onto that layer. That is a totally separate layer. So now we can go back and we can get our, say our butterfly that we want to do. And we can, let's see, which ones do we want to do? We'll do those right there, and I'll erase that little bit. And now I'm going to merge it down. I'm going to go ahead and erase that butterfly part there because I don't need it. And remember, because I'm working in layers, I'm not erasing anything that I shouldn't. Okay, so now let's take, and let's put a number. Let's make this into a stamp. So let's go back to our files, and we do need to go back to our Dropbox. And let's get a number. We'll get that number 12 again. And where was it? Here, we'll do number 2. Maybe it'll load. Okay. And so again, remember, there's that white background, but that's okay. So we have our number 2. Now we're going to merge it down, and then we're going to hit multiply. And so see the white, it went away. So if I want to make that number 2 bigger, because it doesn't look big enough to me, I can enlarge it while I'm there. Then let's see, let's get some postage stuff on it. I have some of that in my Dropbox here, or in my downloads. And I got these off, I think I got these off a free pick as well. So let's do this little thing here, you know, like they do on the stamps. We'll put that on there. And we will merge that down. And let's see, what else do we have that we can put? We'll put this on there. And then we'll merge it down. So as you can see, just like that, we've already created a stamp basically. So now the other thing that I can do, if I want to grunge this stamp up, then I can either merge these layers down and then grunge. And let's do that. We'll just go ahead and merge these down. So I'll merge, so now the brown paper is part of the background. I'm going to merge the butterflies down. And I guess that was it. It looks like it's all in there. Okay. So now let's load a selection, new layer, deselect. This is what I want to load a selection. Load a selection, new layer, deselect. I'm going to merge it down onto that. Let's go back over here to our brush. Let's get some grungy texture going on here. All right. And now let's add some grunge. And remember, because we got it on that layer, it's only going onto that stamp area there. And so there you go. That's how you make the different elements, whether it be stamps, labels, tickets, whatever it is, that's how you do it. You just, you're basically just using your layers. And layers was one thing that terrified me when I started trying to do Photoshop, and the videos that I watched, they talked about layers, and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot do it. But you can do it. Do not be scared of the layers, not in the least. You can absolutely do this. And it's the same thing with anything that you create, whether it be stuff like this or whether it be digital paper collections, whatever it is, work in layers. And that way, if you make a mistake, like this right here, I'm like, I really don't want the grunge on that. If I had done it directly onto the stamp and say I had closed out of it like this, and then I go back in it and I say, ooh, I really don't like the grunge on that stamp. If I had done it on that layer itself, you see there's not a back button up here now, not one that's highlighted that I can use. So I would be stuck with that grunge if I didn't like it. But because I done it in a separate layer, I can just delete it. So that's the thing, that's the one good thing, or one of the good things about working in layers. It gives you a little bit more freedom. You don't have to stress and worry as much. Just play around with it. Take some squares. Just get some squares and do a bunch of squares and learn to and play around with using your magic tool or your magic tool brush over here to separate the squares out. Start with that. You know, don't put any pressure on yourself that you have to design something. Just start with some squares and just start separating the layers like that until you're comfortable, and then go on to something else. So anyway, guys, I hope this video helped you in some sort of way. If it did, please let me know in the comments below, and let me know if there's something else on Photoshop that I can help you with. I'll be more than happy to help you with anything that I can. Again, I do not speak the terminology, the Photoshop terminology. I don't know it. I will tell you straight up, I don't know it. A lot of the things I do, I probably do not do the way that Adobe and Photoshop would recommend doing, but I do it the way that I can do it and get it done. And just, I talk to you in plain language like I know how. Just like, you know, I'm sure that these buttons have names, but I don't know what they are. So to me, this is square with a circle. And I don't know, all I know is that when I do that, I'm going to cut out. You know, and then I have square with an arrow. So that's how I do Photoshop. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being with me today, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.